Welcome to the podcast series, Small Business Survival Conversations. Through our weekly conversations, we hope to provide you with strategies and insights, knowledge and expertise to enlighten you as you work to build and grow your business.
Welcome back to Small Business Survival Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Anna Steinfest, and today I want to talk about a strange problem that almost every business owner experiences. Knowing what you should do and still not doing it. You know you should raise your prices. You know you need to fire that employee. You know you need to make the sales calls. You know you should delegate. But 6 months later, you still haven't done it. So why? And of course, Ken Dombrowski is back with me today. He's been a business owner himself. He's now a business growth coach, and he also works with hypnosis. Ken, where should we start?
That's always the good question. Where do we start, and then where do we end? When we start looking at this from a standpoint of hypnosis, why is someone, they know what they should be doing, but they're not, and whatnot, and why they're doing things that they know they shouldn't be doing, whatever it might be in your business. A lot of times it's going to be simply because it's just their programming. It might be a programming that they grew up with. So let's just use this kind of a loose example. A person who is 50 years old today owning a business, they could have grown up in a household where their parents had difficulty with money. And so the child, all those years at home, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, 10 years old, is hearing this stuff in the background. So that means your subconscious is picking up on it, even though the child is actually watching cartoons. That's where their conscious focus is and attention is. But their subconscious attention is scanning the entire household for information without you knowing about it. So mom and dad can be 15, 20 feet away, sitting at the kitchen table, going over the bills, saying, oh my gosh, we don't have enough money. How are we going to pay the mortgage? How are we going to pay the car payment? Can you get some extra hours at work? Do you think you can get your paycheck early? They're hearing all this is being said because they're just trying to manage and maneuver this. And what the child could easily be getting a program etched in their subconscious that they don't even know is there, is that money is hard to come by, money is a problem, money causes more problems, and a lack of money causes more problems. So pretty much every which way you look at when it comes to money, there's a problem. So what that can be doing is sabotaging that person, so to speak, 50 years later, and whether it be a career or in this case owning a business, that their mind is just going to hold on to programs that aren't serving them. The subconscious convinced that, hey, I have to work really hard in certain very specific manner in order to make ends meet, and then that's all I'm allowed to do. So a person, and we see this very common, happens all the time. It's happened to me, where you can have years where you're struggling and you start doing a little bit better. Then you have a banner year where you just make a ridiculous amount of money. And then the next year you flatline. What happened? Subconscious said, hey, there's too much money here, so we're going to start doing what we can to get rid of it and not earn any more for a while. Now, it could even be, hey, maybe you grew up in a house where your parents were bitter and angry, saying all rich people got there by screwing over somebody, by ripping people off. So that means if you're rich, you're a bad person. Again, this is etched in a program in the subconscious mind that could be compelling our behavior to not move forward. I know what I have to do today, but I'm just not doing it. Because your subconscious is holding you back saying, hey, if you do this, do that, you might make more money, and that means you're a bad person. So now we need a hypnotist, or let's say a master hypnotist like myself, to go and help you reprogram those subconscious programming to be more in alignment with what you want rather than what your original training was.
Yes, I totally agree about conditioning because all of us are conditioned differently and that influence how we do. And that's why probably one of the reasons why we're scared to even raise our prices. We know everybody's around us is telling us you have to raise your prices and it holds us back. Maybe we will lose these customers or the customers we have and maybe we'll lack money exactly the way you explain to us. But hypnosis. So, because all of us, when we say the word hypnosis, we have this a mindset or we're thinking about, a person in front of us with the watch and trying to put us to sleep and change us. Can you give us a little glimpse how it works? Because you are describing that through hypnosis, you can change your conditioning. You can rewrite your subconscious to be more functional and more useful and to pretty much to write new story in your mind. Mm-hmm. So how does it work?
Well, I have never used a watch. I could use a watch and hypnotize you with no problem. I usually use that. I have a big TV whiteboard in my office, and I'll have like running water and have someone just stare at the water, and I talk them into hypnosis. But I could use a watch just as easily. I can hypnotize people over the phone, and I've done it many, many times. So what we look at is we have to go back to mental health sciences, and it tells us that there are only two ways to affect change in subconscious programming. And the first way is trauma. Now, trauma is going to etch a scar with a lot of feelings attached to it that say, hey, we need to either make sure we never do this again or avoid this at all costs and, do whatever we have to make sure we're safe from that peril in the future. Well, the problem with trauma is we don't have any idea what it's going to actually do for someone. Chances are it's going to make them have more problems, more depression, more anxiety, more fears, more doubts. So we don't want to do that. The second way, the only other way, is hypnosis to make changes to subconscious programming. So what we can do there is we can be a lot more target specific. So we find out what's going on with someone. But first thing, we talk through it in the coaching, the life coaching and whatnot, where the problems are, and then we know what we're going after in the subconscious when we do the hypnosis.
Wow, that's very interesting. Mm-hmm. So if a business owner comes to you and asks you, okay, can you help me being more mindful and running my business successful, you explained that you probably will work through hypnosis to make sure that you discover some of the blocks that hold him back. Am I correct? Or I'm just trying to thinking out loud to make sure that we explain to our business owners who are listening on this call how it works.
You're right on spot on there. We're going to find those blockages. We have to find what's going on under the surface, and it's never a one and done situation. It takes ongoing effort, ongoing pursuit. Now we should, after a period of time, we should be able to get someone into a whole new place to where they're going in a new direction automatically. Now we always want to remember that our subconscious, it has this huge history before that hypnosis, so it can tend to want to drag you back to where it used to be. And that's when you want to make sure you can identify when that's happening and get back in for a couple of more sessions to keep it going in the right direction. So it really becomes this just kind of an ongoing thing. And we say it like this: you cannot expect to go to the gym once and have six-pack abs the rest of your life. It doesn't work that way with the body, and it does not work that way with the mind. The problem that we have with the mind is that it's constantly being bombarded with an onslaught of more new creative stresses, new ways to kind of mess up our day and make us stop and see what we're doing and what we need to do to manage this mess and keep moving on at the same time. Because you can't stop business in order to take care of a mess. Business has to keep going while the mess is getting rectified.
So it is misconception for the business owners. I'm clarifying this, that if your margins very low. And if your strategy sucks, I'm sorry to say that, you should not expect going to the hypnosis and it's like a magic wand. Everything will be like, okay, everything will be fixed. No, you need to work. I heard you working. I heard Ken was saying conditioning again. And you have to go to the gym every single day to make sure that you keep your muscle there because you are reprogramming. And this is not one thing and done.
Well, what we like to do with our business clients like this is we want to do once a week for whatever time might take 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, whatever it takes to get them in that new direction. And then after that, we like to suggest once a month after that, ongoing forever, to keep that going in the same direction. And when we have those clients who do that, when they come in every month, guess what? They have another new stress that they need help dealing with, figuring out, working through so they can keep moving forward. It's always there.
And I have a different question, but I think in the same line, can somebody actually sabotage the thing they say they want to do?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It happens quite often because what we have are two different parts of the mind, conscious mind and subconscious mind. And what we want is in our conscious mind. But our subconscious doesn't really have wants. It has needs for survival. And it has programs built around those needs to help ensure survival. So the thing is that those are not in alignment most of the time, and that's why another reason why we can see what we need to do, but we're not doing it. And now, not just business, let's take even like smoking as a good example. Every smoker, while they're smoking, they say, man, I wish I could, I really want to quit smoking. I think about it all day long that I want to quit, but I'm not quitting. Been wanting to quit for 20 years, but here I'm still smoking. That's because the subconscious mind has built programs that say, hey, smoking is actually conducive to our survival. It does not believe the note on the side of the cigarette pack that says, Surgeon General warns if you smoke this, you're going to die, you dumbass. And, whatever it might say, I'm paraphrasing. So the subconscious doesn't believe it because not one of those cigarettes has killed me yet. So actually, therefore, I don't know, ipso facto, you might even say, every cigarette you smoke validates even deeper the commitment in the subconscious program that smoking is absolutely vital to my survival and that other information is garbage. So now take that same situation, apply it in your business, whatever it might be. Most people, and this is very sad that we have to change this and some people don't want to, they'll come in and say, I just want to know how to make more money in my business. Well, you're in the wrong place. I'm not going to help you do that. That's greed. That's rooted in greed and selfishness. How about come to me and say, I want to learn how to improve my business to better help my clients. Oh, now, guess what? We can do that real good. You betcha. We can get you going in the right direction, making more connections, doing more business, selling more product, whatever it might be. And then guess what? A whole lot of money just starts showing up. So we want to do it for the right reasons, and then you have no choice but to be successful.
So they have to ask better questions, probably.
Well, first they have to ask better questions of themselves. Yes, you're right, and then we can move forward. And then that's what we're here for too, is to help them understand that philosophy is not likely to get you very far. And sometimes people, they don't want to hear that, and they leave. They don't want to do the program, and I totally understand. I'm not going to try to make you, change your stripes right now. It's up to you. When you're ready, when you've hit your head against the wall enough and not gotten what you're looking for, come back.
They have to be open. We've talked in another episode about having a mentor, having a coach, staying open. Very important. In hypnosis, also, you have to stay open when you go, because you have to make sure that you start building or reconditioning yourself with total different bricks right now than the bricks you used to. You have to rebuild that particular wall.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and actually, as you're saying bricks, I smiled because I do have an extremely effective hypnosis that I call the bricks. But it's not about building walls out of bricks. It's about shedding the bricks off of your shoulders that you've been carrying with you for your entire life, and they've been weighing you down and holding you back. Very, very effective.
So there is a bricks analogy.
Yes,
I know that you used to be in construction, so that's what I'm thinking about. That is awesome. So can you finish this sentence? In fact, I wrote it here. Your business will have a hard time growing beyond the point where you are unwilling to do what?
Oh, unwilling to compromise, unwilling to be understanding, to be accepting, unwilling to really take a hard look at yourself and what you're doing and what needs to be done and what's not being done. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to finish that one.
Yes, and stay open.
Mm-hmm.
Find a coach, and because you may be the biggest hurdle of your business if you want to grow, and don't blame your surrounding.
Yeah, every business, small business owner, they are simultaneously their business's greatest asset, as well they're the business's greatest detriment. They're doing both at the exact same time. They're the greatest asset because their heart and soul is in this business, and they want nothing and more than to nurture it and make it grow and be successful. But it's all the bad habits that we have through life that make it our biggest detriment is the business owner, and especially if, as you're beating really good on this, if they're unwilling to change. Yes. Or be open, as you say.
Yes, unwilling to change. That's absolutely. Thank you. And I think that's the question or the statement I will leave to our listeners. And what's the thing you already know? You know what to do right now, but I want you to make sure that you keep reason not to do it. So make sure that you work with your subconscious. If you can, find a coach, or there is alternatives, and sometimes you can catch yourself about your subconscious. Why? Sometimes you have to ask the question, why am I doing that? Why am I scared of raising prices, like Ken was saying? But of course, with the coach, you'll be able to pinpoint this faster and probably move faster of changing your subconscious. And maybe this is your next breakthrough in your business. So make sure that you find a coach, or you start asking better questions to be more successful. Thank you, everyone.
Good point. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Small Business Survival Conversation podcast. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. And don't forget to join us next week for another episode. In the meantime, hook up with us on our Facebook group at Small Business Survival Tools and Tips. Till next time, thank you for listening.